World's Strongest Man have just announced massive changes for the 2025 competition. Auntie Lizzie, some exciting news just coming out from World's Strongest Man.
I know, it is exciting. So we're here to talk about what the changes are. I'm sure plenty of people would have seen the line on Instagram, but also what it means for the athletes and the overall competition as well. But this is, I think, the most significant format change we've had since they introduced the stone off back in about 2016.
Yeah, so for people that are new to Strongman or kind of been watching the last couple of years, the athletes were told there's going to be 4 events and there would be a type of stone off. It wasn't going to be Atlas stones this year. It's the stones of the world. Second and third place were supposed to do that event.
Yeah.
That is no longer happening, correct?
Yes, correct. Yes. So now every single athlete is going to do the stones of the world. So it's back to a 5-event heat, which is really, really nice because we said we really wanted to see everyone do that.
So much better. Just think of the guys that are going out there for the first time, guys that maybe, that realistically go in there and they're not expecting to get to the final. You go there and do 4 events. It's an anticlimax. Let everyone do every single event in the heats. I like this. I think it's a great decision from World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
I think it's fairer. I think with the standard of competition now, I know why World's Strongest Man have messed around with things in the past.
Yes.
They want the groups to be exciting to the end.
Yes, but they
about,
will be now because, like you were just saying, the standard of competition now, we don't have filler athletes. Like before, you would have a couple of really dominant athletes who could just cruise the groups and often wouldn't even do the Atlas stones. So they started meddling with the final event. They introduced double points on Atlas stones. They introduced obviously the last man standing Atlas stones, and then finally the stone off. But that's now officially gone because everyone's going to do the 5th event, the stones, and it's going to be scored normally. So first place in the heat will get 5 points. Last place in the heat will get 1 point.
Yeah, so much better. I was just going to say, there's years in the past where I was in a group where I was tied on points with third place. Second place was half a point ahead. I missed out on doing the stone off. We've seen situations where an athlete could be 8 points ahead of third place and not get to the final. Things like that are ridiculous when you think of putting so much value on one event. I think this is a great decision. I think it's going to make the groups exciting. As we said, there's a reason it's still going to be exciting as well. We'll talk about that in a second. But for me, such a good choice to see this from World's Strongest Man.
Yeah, it's a really good change. So going into the next change then. Now, this one, I want to keep it as simple as possible to not overcomplicate it. But the format is essentially the same. It's going to be 5 heats with 5 athletes in each heat, and the top 2 from each heat will qualify for the final. Once we have those 10 finalists, they are going to be rescored essentially as if all 10 of those guys competed against each other in the heats. For example, the deadlift. So say, Tom got 9 reps on a deadlift, Mitch got 10. That was the best out of everyone. That means Mitch would get 10 points, yada, 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 for every single event in the heats until we get an overall heats score sheet. And then they will be awarded points based off of their placing against each other. So the first event of the final will essentially be what they did in the heats.
Yes.
So they are going to go in with 10 to 1 points, depending on how they did in the heats against the other finalists. So what that means is there will be no more, I only need to do 5 reps to win the deadlift, because it's going to matter later on when you get into the final and you're compared against the other best guys who made it through to the final.
This is the best thing World's Strongest Man could have done to stop anyone messing around in the heats.
Yes, there'll be no gentlemen's agreements. There'll be nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've done little videos before in the past where we compare what athletes did in the heats. But as the competition goes on, you do see athletes that can start taking things easy, so it skews those results a little bit. Now, what you do in the heats matters. You cannot back off because, say you've won your group, you're still comparing yourself to the other groups.
Yeah,
there's a couple of things that I think Worlds needs to be aware of. I think the fact that there's 5 events, they need to rotate which groups go first.
Yes. And explain why that's important then, because...
Well, obviously, if Group 1 was always going first, they're going to be at a massive disadvantage to Group 5 that can just sit back and watch and hold back. Whereas with this system, at least everyone has to go flat out on one event, regardless of what position you go out. I think that's important. You don't want to be sending out group one first, who are always going to have to, kill themselves.
Mhm.
Um, Essentially, people are going to have to push hard. It's no longer, oh look, that guy's done 2 reps in my group, I only need to do 3,
Yeah.
because you're going to be competing against the other groups as well if you're looking to get to the final.
Yeah, so you're only competing against the guys in your group to make it through to the final, but once you're in the final, the points you go in with depends on how you did against those 9 other finalists.
And basically, it's like adding an event to the final, the way
Yeah.
this is going to work. So, first place will go in with 10 points, down to 1 point. That will be a starting. So, it's as if the events in the heats are event number 1, if you like, of the final.
Yeah.
Much better, because I don't like 5 events in the final. I think
No,
it's
no.
naff. Whereas now, 10 events are happening, 10 events are important.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be out of 60 points in the final rather than 50. It's aligning itself closer to an OSG style scoring system, but it's still kind of ticking all of the boxes in terms of TV contracts, so they can still get their individual TV
And
shows.
that's, from discussions I've had with the TV side of things, that's their big concern, is they don't want groups that suddenly just get really boring by the end of it.
Yeah,
So
and
in the past, you've had Brian Shaw, he's cruised through, just done 1 stone, gets a bit boring, we know what's happening. Whereas this, athletes are still going to be trying all the way through. That last event, I think, is going to be exciting as well, because some of the athletes will have thought, oh, I don't need to worry about that. Now everyone's going to have to do it, and it's a new event that could throw a spanner in the works. If groups are close, things could become very, very interesting. I think there'll be situations where maybe you've got a guy that's going in first place, he might slip down to third.
yeah.
It's not impossible. Whereas you're no longer, you've got that safety point of being first after 4 events. That's gone, but also you're not totally out of the competition if you're in fourth or fifth place.
No, exactly. Yeah, depending on how the points are sitting in the group, there's still everything to play for. So, to summarize, then, just to bullet point it, still having the heats, still going to be 5 guys in each heat. All 5 guys do all 5 events. There's no automatic qualifications anymore. The 5th event will be scored normally. Once the top 10, so 2 from each group, get through to the final, those guys are going to be scored against each other as if they were all in one big heat, I guess. And then that's going to be the points they go into the final with. So the worst you could do is 1 point. The best you could do is 10 points. That's going to really concern some guys who might have thought, all right, yeah, I'm probably good enough to get through to the final, but the heats aren't the best events for me because they're going to be disadvantaged going into the final. Your performance there matters now.
Yeah, but everyone's in the same playing field. Everyone's going to have to work hard. I really like this. This is
I like it.
a decision from World's Strongest Man that I totally am on board with. It's making it exciting for me. Now, all we need World's Strongest Man to do is keep promoting, keep pushing, keep getting us excited for this year's World's Strongest Man. That's what we want. We want to see these announcements. We want to see athletes kind of, looking forward to competing at Worlds, and fans getting excited for it as well.
I'm so intrigued to hear the athletes' feedback and to see what they think about it. Like, I think a lot of them are going to like it. I imagine some absolutely will not like it. But I'm also really interested to hear the fan perspective too, because if people don't like it, I'd like to know why. Like, what are the concerns with a new system like this?
Yeah, I think sometimes something new is always off-putting to people,
Yeah.
but I do like this change. With all the things they've done, this is my favorite I've seen so far.
This is the first one I thought is positive in such a long time. Genuinely.
Yeah,
And I
but
don't mean to be negative,
we
but
need
I
to
think
talk
this
about
is
the
good.
positives as well as the negatives. So it's good to see. Hopefully, people do like this change. Hopefully, they can see. In an ideal world, it would be 8 events in the final, best guys, blah blah blah, 12, whatever. That's my ideal world. But in terms of what we've got at World's Strongest Man, I think
Yeah.
this is really, really good. I think it makes it exciting. I think it's going to be fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things play out.
It's made me a lot more excited for the competition, definitely. And I know a lot of people, their ideal would be to scrap the groups altogether. But then we
Yeah,
go back to the TV contracts and they have to make 6 shows out of it. They don't want to make a show of 25 men deadlifting.
sure.
And that's the reality of it, isn't it? Is to
Yeah.
keep that variety within each TV show. We don't know like the perfect scenario, but I think this is definitely a big step forward.
We're moving forward. It's a positive step. It's great to see. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you excited for World's Strongest Man? I know a lot of people haven't been, but maybe this is just getting you a bit more excited. I've not even spoken to Mitch yet. Liz is like, we've got to get on and work on the final. She's out doing
Scrimmage.
some meetings, and I've not even spoken to him about this. So I can't even tell you from an athlete's perspective, only my own perspective as an athlete, but I think it's great. Like I said, I've been in situations where I was eliminated before I got the chance to do the last event. At least with this, athletes still have a chance going into that last event. And I think the fact that it's really 6 events now as a final rather than 5, much, much better.